I still remember the night my grandmother told me the story of the haunted well, and how it changed everything. The sound of rain outside adds to the eeriness of this memory, and I can almost feel the chill run down my spine as I recall it. It was a typical Friday evening, with the sky darkening and the first droplets of rain starting to fall. My grandmother would often tell me stories on nights like these, when the world outside seemed to be shrinking and the fireplace in our living room was the only warm and comforting place to be. As a child, I was always fascinated by the supernatural stories my grandmother told me. She'd sit by the fireplace, and with a flick of her wrist, the room would be enveloped in an atmosphere of suspense. Her eyes would sparkle with excitement as she began to spin her tales, and I'd sit transfixed, hanging on every word. My grandmother had a special gift for weaving stories that not only captivated my imagination but also made me feel like I was right there with her, experiencing the thrills and chills for myself. One of the most chilling stories she told me was about a family who lived on the outskirts of our town. They had a well in their backyard, which was said to be haunted by the spirit of a young girl who died there. The story went that the girl had fallen into the well and drowned, and that her spirit had been trapped there ever since. My grandmother would pause, letting the sound of the rain outside create an unsettling atmosphere. She'd say that people who approached the well would hear the girl's whispers, and if they listened closely, they'd hear their own names being called. As I sat there, mesmerized by my grandmother's story, I couldn't help but wonder what really happened to the family who lived near the haunted well. Did they ever experience the strange occurrences that my grandmother was describing? Did they ever hear the girl's whispers? Or did they try to investigate the well further? My grandmother never answered these questions, leaving them to my imagination and sparking my curiosity. As the night wore on and the rain continued to fall, my grandmother would occasionally glance at me, her eyes sparkling with a knowing glint. She seemed to sense that the story was having an impact on me, that it was somehow awakening a part of me that I didn't know existed. And in that moment, I felt a deep connection to her, like we were sharing a secret that only we understood. The sound of the rain outside began to intensify, and I could almost hear my grandmother's voice whispering in my ear. But what really happened to the family who lived near the haunted well? Was it just a simple legend? Or was there something more sinister at play? I've always been drawn to the unknown, and my grandmother's story of the haunted well only served to fuel that fascination. As I grew older, I began to realize that the story of the haunted well was more than just a simple tale. It was a window into the darker aspects of our town's history, a reminder that there was always more to things than met the eye. And my grandmother's story, with all its twists and turns, had left an indelible mark on my imagination, one that would stay with me for the rest of my life. But even now, as I sit here, surrounded by the familiar comforts of my own home, I can still hear the sound of the rain outside, as I'm transported back to that night when my grandmother told me the story of the haunted well. It's a memory that I'll always treasure, one that continues to captivate me with its sense of mystery and intrigue. And as I look back on that night, I'm reminded of the power of stories to transport us to different worlds, to make us feel like we're a part of something greater than ourselves. As the rain continues to fall, I'm drawn back into the world of my grandmother's story, a world where the supernatural and the unknown are always lurking just beneath the surface. And I'm left wondering, what other secrets is our town hiding? What other stories are waiting to be uncovered, waiting to be shared with the world? The sound of the rain outside is a reminder that there's always more to discover, more to explore, and more to learn. And as I sit here, surrounded by the darkness of the night, I'm eager to see what other secrets our town might hold. I still remember the night my grandmother told me the story of the haunted well, and the countless times I've visited that spot in my mind ever since. Years later, I stumbled upon an old newspaper article about the same family. It turned out they had moved away under mysterious circumstances, leaving behind the abandoned well that had become synonymous with terror. The more I read, the more I felt a chill run down my spine. As I turned the pages, I couldn't shake off the feeling that I was being watched. I started to notice strange noises around my house, creaks and groans that sounded like someone was lurking in the shadows. I tried to convince myself it was just the wind or the old house settling. But deep down, I knew it was more than that. I couldn't help but wonder if the spirit of the girl was still haunting the well, her presence lingering long after her family had disappeared. One night, I decided to visit the old well, driven by a morbid curiosity that I couldn't quite explain. As I approached the spot, the rain seemed to grow heavier, drumming against the earth like 1,000 tiny drums. I stood there, frozen, my heart pounding in my chest. And then, I heard it, a faint whisper that seemed to carry on the wind. It was my name being called, just like my grandmother had described all those years ago. My skin crawled as I spun around, trying to pinpoint the source of the sound. But there was no one there. The whisper seemed to come from all around me, echoing off the trees and the well itself. I stood there, paralyzed with fear. As the whisper grew louder, more insistent, it was calling me, drawing me closer to the well. And I knew in that moment that I had to go back. The sound of the rain is getting heavier, and I'm starting to feel a sense of unease. What will I find out about the girl's fate? Did she really disappear? Or did she find a way to communicate from beyond the grave? I'm not sure, but I know I have to keep searching for answers. The well seems to be calling me, beckoning me to uncover the secrets that lie within its depths. And I'm not sure if I'm ready for what I might find. I returned to the well the next night, determined to uncover the truth. The rain pounded against the ground, creating a rhythmic beat that only fueled my determination. As I approached the well, the whispers began. But this time they were louder and more urgent. It was as if the girl was trying to tell me something, to warn me away from the well. A chill ran down my spine as I realized that the whispers weren't just random sounds. They were a message, a plea from the girl to stay away from the well. I felt a shiver run down my spine as I wondered what she was trying to protect me from. The whispers seemed to grow louder, more insistent, and I knew I had to investigate further. I decided to dig deeper and discovered a hidden room beneath the well. The air was musty and stale, and the darkness seemed to swallow me whole. But as I stepped inside, I saw a faint light flickering in the corner. It was a small lantern, casting an eerie glow over the room. And next to it, I saw a journal belonging to the family who had lived there. As I opened the journal, I was transported back in time. The family's story unfolded before me, a tale of love, loss, and tragedy. The girl who had died in the well was not just a spirit. She was a victim of a tragic event that had been covered up. The family's secrets were hidden in the pages of the journal, secrets that I had uncovered by chance. The sound of the rain outside was no longer just background noise. It was a reminder of the true horror that lay beneath the surface. The well was more than just a mysterious landmark. It was a portal to a dark and sinister world. And as I closed the journal, I knew that I had only scratched the surface of the truth. What secrets do you think lie hidden beneath the surface of your town? Share your own scary stories in the comments below. And let's continue the conversation. Don't forget to like and subscribe for more true scary stories.